This is 2 spools, so it's a shaft inside of a shaft. It's got an N1, N2.
Yeah.
Some of them have 3 spools, N1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so you got like the British ones or something like that, right? With the...
it depends on how many stages and how it's all about the efficiency. So some of our Rolls Royce had 3 spools, and that's an old engine for us. We had them on our 757s, and then most of the smaller engines are 2 spools.
What's this mean?
There's a piece that's probably been missing off of here. I don't know. It's just since this engine has been either it's serviceable because of the whatever is, they're probably telling that there's a bolt missing or there's check the oil or whatever.
Oh, and it says C item 1. Somewhere it's a list.
Yeah, there's an open item list somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
It's probably going to be in one of those plastic containers. This is an alternator that actually, when the engine gets spooled up, it'll power the EEC and everything. So this engine can run by itself without having to have aircraft power on it if something were to happen.
What's a gearbox? I heard you say, I don't know what a gearbox is.
The gearbox? Okay. So we take, obviously we want to run all these items, right?
Yeah.
So we're taking power off the engine to do it. So there's a gear inside the engine on one of those spools, like the differential in your car. So it's spinning this way. So this is spinning this way, coming out, doing another turn to go into this gearbox. There's a whole bunch of gears in here. So if you pull this apart, it looks like the inside of a clock. So this is turning a gear here, which is turning a bunch of other gears, so that you're able to drive these items.
Okay.
And
it's like the accessories, right?
It's the accessory drive.
Oh.
So this one,
yeah.
So this one works 2 different ways. Well, one way, but this brings the air in, turns the starter, which turns the gearbox, which turns the drive shaft all the way down and starts spinning the engine.
Okay.
So when there's like teeth inside of here or dogs, so when this closes off, that can freewheel. Otherwise, you'll blow up the starter because you'll spin it too fast.
Yeah. What usually goes wrong with this type of engine? Or
not a lot, really.
Nothing.
This engine, the engines over in the other hangar, I think they've got close to 56,000 hours on them. That's a lot.
That's a lot of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they probably haven't come off the end. They're probably original to the engine, to the airplane.
You don't change it? Y'all don't, you don't do an engine change?
It's all by time and if something starts to fail. So we monitor it. So if we notice that it's using a lot of oil or it's not making enough power or it's overheating, we'll monitor it. And if it gets to a certain point, we'll pull it off and send it out to be overhauled or worked on. But other than that, as long as it keeps going, we should put oil in it and it keeps going.
All right. That's cool.
But yeah, a lot of things, starters go bad, starter shut-off valves go bad.
Yeah, we actually, that's what we do at my shop. We like repair and overhaul like CSDs and starters. And, like I've seen this before actually. Like I've actually worked on that thing before.
Oh, the filters?
Yeah, yeah. There's little dinky units like that. Like they come in as well, and it's just like a quick thing to.
That is the hydraulic pump for this is down here. Right here?
Yeah.
So what that is a case drain filter. So you're running hydraulic fluid there to cool it. And then we filter that fluid up through that so we know if that pump is going bad, we can see metal particles in it. We'll change that and inspect it over so many hours. So if it starts to go bad or whatever, we know to change that. Well, a lot of times people, when they pull that apart, rip the safety wire holes out or different things, and that may be why you end up with it to overhaul it.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things too, like the filters are automatic, like replacing it, stuff like that.
Right, we change those on overnight stuff, and it could be 100 hours, it could be 3,000 hours, but that's all scheduled maintenance.
Yeah, it's cool seeing like the parts like on the actual engine.
Yes. Cool. What other parts do you work on?
We do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of military stuff. Like we work on landing gears for like the F-16 and stuff like that.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
We work on the brakes. We work on a bunch of different actuators and servo like hydraulic servos and stuff like that. A lot of different stuff. Filter manifolds, like these valves too. Like these valves here. You see a lot of those there. This one.
Okay. Yeah, those other two that I showed you with the 6 and 9 stage air, those were capped off here. So this is where you're taking your bleed air off to go and actually pressurize your airplane and do the heat, air conditioning as well. And these valves are, I'm sure you've had them, but they're the muscle air. There's a little spring in there, and then this air helps regulate it by how much PSI is on this with the bigger diaphragms and that kind of stuff. But yeah, some of this stuff goes out. There's a lot of heat and air that gets in here. It's a very dry, hostile environment. So these will go out, but these are very reliable. Modern engines are very reliable as long as you take care of them.
What's the thing on the top with the yellow?
Those two things?
Yeah.
That goes to, there's a box that mounts there. It's called a pre-cooler.
Ah.
So this air comes off of the engine and it's hot. It's probably 400 or 500 degrees Celsius when you take it off the 6 and 9 stage.
Okay.
So we send it through an intercooler. This air is taking fan air up front. So if you're flying in altitude, it's 50 below zero.
Yeah.
So it's taking that air and running it through it and just getting it down to a more manageable temperature before it sends it off to the airplane to be used. It's still hot when it goes there, but it may only be 100 degrees Celsius. So, because we use that air for wing anti-ice, we use it for pressurization and air conditioning in the airframe. But that's just a pre-cooler. There's a valve on that stays on the airplane, or a pre-cooler that sits there.
Okay.
We'll
Cool.
probably be able to see that over here. Any other questions I can maybe try to answer on this one?
Nah, we're good.
All right, let's go over to the other hangar and we'll take a look real quick.
Cool.
And we'll still have plenty of time. I just wanted to